Far away.
Chef, does cooking ever relax you?
It does. I mean, the prep element. I think the prep element is relaxing. That's what I really enjoy. You know, like whether it's prepping fish or vegetables or things like that. That I find that really relaxing. Obviously, cooking is a bit more stressful because, you know, especially in a restaurant environment, because you know people are paying for what you're producing, so it needs to be right. So that's more stressful than prepping. But cooking at home, I don't find stressful at all. You know, it's really enjoyable. It's something I can do with my son, or from watching the football or something like that. You know, so it does relax me. It kind of puts you in a different state when you're at home than what you are when you're cooking. You know, in a proper kitchen environment.
Do you have anything specific that you find very relaxing to prep?
Mushrooms. I don't know why. I'm just going to zone out prepping mushrooms. You know, you haven't got to think about it too much. They're a beautiful thing. You know, whether it's a girole or a cep or chanterelles, morels. You know, they're so perfect by nature. You know, it's a nice thing that you can just kind of zone out and just prep away and think about whatever you need to think about.
I was going to ask, when you're prepping a meal, so it can actually happen to you, because you know how we all have our trail of thought that never ends, and as a chef in a professional setting you have a million things going on at the same time and you're in 7 places in the kitchen. So does it actually happen during that meal prep that you can switch off and just really zoom in on those mushrooms, for instance?
Yeah. I mean, you know, if in a kitchen environment, you know, if you've got enough people, and you know, you can just kind of write, you know what, I'm going to do this morning, and you can just kind of switch off, and obviously you're still thinking about other things, but not that frantic thought that, you know, right, okay, I need to keep my eye on him, I need to keep my eye on her, I need to make sure this is coming, that's coming. You know, there's times where you can just get, you know, an hour and a half where you just kind of zone out, and you're still alert, but not on high alert, if that makes any sense.
Like a breath of fresh air in it, isn't it? Would you say that knowing how to cook helps you manage stress in general in any way?
I mean, obviously from a cooking point of view, yeah. If you know what you do, it's like anything. If you know what you're doing and you're competent at it, you find it a lot easier. You know, friends have invited me around for dinner, and you know, I just see how stressed they get when they're cooking, and that just doesn't happen to me because I know how to cook. You know, my wife is a dreadful cook, and even cooking pasta stresses her out. You know, and there's just limbs going everywhere, and you're just like doing, you know, just like, you know, what are you doing? And she gets really stressed by that, and it actually stresses me out watching her. I'll be honest, but yeah, I think but when you know what you're doing, and you can just relax, and it makes things easier, especially if you're cooking at home for yourself. If you know what to do, it's almost like second nature, so you don't get stressed at all. You know, whether it's just like making a Sunday roast would never stress me out because it's just simple.
And is there anything you'd recommend to people who get so freaked out by pasta?
Either get someone else to do it, eat out, or just, I mean, you know, you just kind of need to take stock of what you're doing. You know, if the pan's boiling over because you put too much pasta in, then turn the pan down. You know, people start stressing and trying to move things around. So you just turn the pan down.
It's like organise things more calmly.
Just be more organised. Just before you start the process, make sure you've got everything that you need to complete that process without having any bumps in the road. You know, make sure you've got the pan's at the right temperature. You know, you put the correct amount in the pan, volume-wise, compared to how much water you have in there. Make sure you've got your pasta drainer ready. You know, it just seems simple, but it's like anything. If you follow the steps correctly, then you get to where you want to get to.
Simple isn't always easy, right?
It isn't, no. You know, and that, you know, it's quite apt you say that because, you know, you do a dish and you'll make like a beautiful sauce and you just put a lovely piece of fish in the middle of it. People go, wow, it's so simple. But the process that you've gone through to get to that point isn't simple, but the execution of it is simple. And that's what I think the nicest food is for me.
And hearing you say this, you know, organize yourself before you start and then know what you're doing. This is such a skill for me personally that I've taken away from the kitchen into everyday life. I bet that you've got some similar experience in your life, like, you know, the attention to detail, the patience the thoroughness, the organization.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, that's one thing as a chef, if you want to operate at a top sort of decent level, you have to be organised, otherwise you're just not going to get there. If I set a section up in the kitchen now, I set it up in exactly the same way I've been setting it up for the past 20 years or whatever. All the containers have to be at the same level, and all the squeezy bottles have to be the same size, and and all the spoons have to be the same size in the pot. It's a very kind of pedantic way of working. And when I do the shop at home, when we go shopping, I put the stuff away in the fridge. It's all very kind of regimented. The veg always goes there, and the yogurts always go there, and the eggs always go there. If people come in and move them, then I move them back. Just so it's the same again, like being on a section. When you're busy on a section in the kitchen during service, if you know where everything is, it just makes things easier. So I know, right, okay, I need my lemon wedges, I know they're there, or I need my spoons because I'm going to baste this piece of fish, I know it's there. If you're looking around trying to find everything, you're not concentrating, and that's when things start to go wrong.
Ready chef is a happy chef.
Well, so they say.
Mostly. Now, we're talking about male mental health awareness this month, and because of that, we're doing a mindful cooking and baking session where we invite and encourage men to cook as well. Loads of chefs I met, and most of the chefs I worked with are men, and there's a lot going on about managing stress, managing overwhelm, regulating your emotions. Would you say that cooking in any way can help this over time?
I think over time, yeah. I think it can. It's like following a recipe essentially. The first time you do it, and you're like, oh no, and you get a bit stressed out by it. But the second or third or fifth or sixth or 20th, 50th time you do it, it's second nature. So you almost don't need to think about it. So you've got headspace to think about something else. So it can reduce stress, because don't get me wrong, cooking can it can add to it as well, but it can also reduce it. So a kitchen can be a very peaceful environment. I think especially in pastry, because it's a bit more pragmatic than cooking in the kitchen. Everything needs to be weighed, and everything needs to be exact. Whereas in the kitchen, you season a bit of fish and then you get it in the pan. If you're making, I don't know, an ice cream based in pastry, you can't go 2-3 grams over or under, because you're not going to get the right recipe. It has to be exact. So yeah, I think it can reduce stress.
Is there any comfort food that's your go-to when you want to reduce stress, or like just chill out yourself?
It depends what kind of type the time of day it is. I do like instant noodles, I have to admit. Yeah, I really like instant noodles. We've got a great Chinese supermarket near our house that has all these different flavours of instant noodles, and that really is something you don't need to think about. You just pour hot water on it and come back in 5 minutes time, and open the sachet and off you go. So there's that. I enjoy eating instant noodles because it's so easy. I also I enjoy all types of food, any type of food. You get home at night and it's like, what, I'm just gonna have a yogurt, or I'm just gonna have some Weetabix or something like that.
It's good for your gut. Yeah.
Exactly, it's good for your health, and it's good for your gut. And then there's other nights where you get home and you go, I just want to eat a pork pie. It just depends how you feel, or how much you've eaten throughout the day or whatever.
Does it ever feel like a win when you really love something, you love to eat it, and then you finally learned how to do it, or you got around to it?
Yeah, definitely. When I went travelling, we spent such a lot of time in Asia and India and all these places. You eat all this fabulous food, and you just think, I'd love to be able to make it like that, so it tastes like that. And I never got round to it because I was always kind of at work, whatever. And then over lockdown, obviously, I was cooking at home, twice a day, and my wife kept the diary of everything, because I cooked a different meal for lunch and dinner for about 4 months, and she kept the diary of all the different things that I cooked, and a lot of the things that I cooked was food that I wanted to get better at but never had the time to invest to do it. So I was cooking a lot of Thai food at home, I was cooking a lot of Indian food at home, making my own rotis and things like that, and because I had the time to work on it and invest in it, I'm now a lot better at it than where I was. So yeah, that was really pleasing actually.
And finally, is there any life lesson from your years of cooking every single day that you can share with us?
Always have salt. Always have salt in your cupboard at home, and olive oil, and that's it. I think you know it's, as I said, it's just about, I think, you know, cooking, it can be a bit like life. You know, if you're pragmatic about it and accept that there's going to be bumps in the road, whether you're cooking in a service or in life, there are going to be bumps in the road. But it's how you have a mechanism to deal with them, that makes them easier to get past. You know, if for instance, you know, something's going wrong in the kitchen, if I know I can sort it out, you know, a béarnaise splitting in the middle of service, for instance, just people start panicking, it's okay, I can fix it, don't worry. And if I know to fix it, everything calms down, and then it moves on. I think life's a bit similar, really. That's just my pearl of knowledge.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
No worries.